Welcome to Engaged Company Culture, a podcast directed at you, helping you to stop the employee exodus in your organization. This podcast has 3 different types of episodes. First, you have tips, tricks, observations, stories, research from me, Dr. Catherine Weiberg of Profitable Alignment. Second, interviews with other consultants, other coaches who are here to serve you so you can learn other tips and tricks to engaging your employees, to stop the employee exodus, to consciously create and continue a company culture where people want to be and where they encourage other people to come to work and to become your customers. Third, I interview other business leaders who have engaged company cultures and want to share their stories. You might learn from them how they have applied principles of company culture to increase their employee retention, increase their profits, increase their productivity, and increase everyone's job satisfaction. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you for joining this episode of Engaged Company Culture. My guest today is Debora Hollick, the Smash Through Mentor. I have to admit, I love her title. I love her logo in the background. Those of you who are viewing can see that there's a person breaking through a wall and becoming the person that he or she wants to be. I love that. Debora is a speaker, intuitive consultant, and strategist, trainer, coach, and 2 times international #1 best-selling author. She helps professionals smash confusion, solve chaos, and stop cussing while they are resolving current challenges. Her clients say it feels like receiving a warm energy hug while also receiving a gentle kick in the pants. She is the founder of Life In W.O.W, Nuggets of Wonder Openness Wisdom, a compilation book, a companion playbook, and events. Debora has been a business owner for over 23 years. She does speaking and training on employee engagement and retention. She uses a method that I had never heard of until I spoke with her. It's called Kirlian photography. This method gives management and staff a visual of what thoughts look like, so they have a benchmark to measure their thoughts, because we think in pictures. Debora, welcome.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. It's so great to be here with you and your audience.
Thank you. We are excited. I'd like to start off with Kirlian photography and also with how our thoughts affect others. You may choose from which angle you want to approach it, but please tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I'm a real believer that we're all connected. Some way, somehow, we're all connected with everything. And that sometimes that doesn't feel so good. But for the most part, I think from an energy standpoint, and that's been proven even scientifically. So we are connected. And what Kirlian photography has taught me, and what I'm so excited about sharing and teaching others, and I've been doing it for many years, is that thoughts really do look like something. There's a picture that you can have of thoughts, and sometimes it's not so pretty. Sometimes it's just glorious. But once you have that visual, it's sort of like not being able to unring a bell. If you've seen it and you've paid attention to it and you start practicing, okay, I remember, that's not the best thought I've ever had in my life. How can I change that to improve it a little bit? It shapes us. And that's what happened to me many years ago. The woman, Dr. Agnes Krawick, has, passed away now, but she was my mentor for many years. And she taught us, many of us, she was just such a wonderful, incredibly knowledgeable woman, and so adventurous in her thoughts and ideas and ahead of her time, really. And she was really had a scientific brain. We could ask her all sorts of stuff and she had the answers. It was amazing. And we were like sponges with her. I just wanted to learn every single thing I could learn from that woman. And she has really, really helped me. And she was my Kirlian photography teacher and mentor. So when she first took my picture, it was scary because who knew that you had all these thoughts in a day and your picture could look like that? And it wasn't nice. It was dark. It was fragmented. It was just something that when I saw it, I knew, you need to start addressing these issues. This is not a good way to be. So with her help and many, many experiments and working with lots of people and having some great fun at it, I'm happy to say that I changed, and I'm really proud to say that I have taken the steps and changed and done the work.
Oh, thank you. I've had so many conversations in my life, especially with my husband and my kids. What are you thinking? You look like there's something on your mind. And sometimes I've had my children or my husband say, no, stop thinking like that, just because they're looking at me. And I know what you're thinking because of the expression on your face or your energy changed. You went from being so up to all of a sudden stressed. And we've not done Kirlian photography in my family, but we are in tune with each other. So we are sensitive to those energetic shifts. We're sensitive to those mood shifts. It's really fascinating because even with my kids from a young age, I spoke with them about how can you change your thoughts? How can you reframe your thinking? So instead of saying, for example, poor me, poor me, poor me, you can say, what can I learn? What caused it? What can I do differently? What brought me here, and how can I help somebody else in this situation? All about reframing those thoughts. And it does change how we show up in the world. It changes how we show up for ourselves, for the people we love, and for everybody that we meet.
You are 100% right.
So when you talk to organizations, companies, corporate cultures, leaders, how do you help them understand the impact of thoughts on their cultures?
Well, what I did years ago, I did a study years ago, actually, with a business, with volunteers from management and staff, which was so much fun. It was a very long day, but we all had a lot of fun, and it made a huge difference in their culture. So what I had done during this study was I took a picture of each person. I took 2 pictures, actually. So the first one, we took the picture and I asked them 4 questions on happy thoughts or on thoughts that we all have every day, right? So every day we all have normal kinds of thoughts. Oh, do I have to go to the grocery store? Oh, what's this? Oh, did I remember to put the laundry in? So we all have normal thoughts. We all, hopefully, sometime during a day have some sort of a happy thought. And unfortunately, we have a whole lot of frustration or angry thoughts. That seems to be the norm. And then, like I say, hopefully throughout a day, we have what we might consider a perfect thought, whether that for some, with their internal self, spirit, God, call it whatever you want, your own peaceful, calm, what would be a perfect thought to you. So for each person, I did 4 exposures on the same film. Now, this was done with a camera with has a step-up transformer, and it was a Polaroid camera. So you could, their fingers were right there, and you could move them down with each thought. So when the picture was instantly developed and they saw that, okay, that was my hand there, my thoughts, and you showed it to them right in front of them, and they saw the picture. And then when I explained it, between the meridians and the thoughts and the fragmentation or the beautiful halos or whatever there was, then, and we did these all around work because this was done in a business. So they were all, normal thought about work, happy thought about work, frustration or angry thought about work, and then perfect thought about work. I think maybe some of them, their perfect thought might have been not having to be there. So I would chat with them for about 5 minutes. And just like you mentioned about with your children and saying, okay, how could we think of this differently? That was what I did with everybody there. And I just said, okay, let's talk about whatever thought you had. Don't tell me what it is. I don't want to know. That's your personal business. But is there a way that you in your mind could reframe that thought? Could you, well, what if I decided that this was how I was going to feel? Or what if I did this? Would I feel better? So we chatted for about 5 minutes because there was 25 people, and so it was a long day. And so then I took another picture. And when they saw the difference in their own picture, it was life altering for many of them. And some of them to this day remember, and it's been many, many years. And some of the people, the few that I, still happen to know, found it life-changing and still have that picture. So when I do go into corporate and teach this and show, unfortunately, I can no longer do the actual pictures because Polaroid and Fuji stopped making the film. So I can't actually do pictures, but I have many to show. And so whether it's our own picture or someone else's, you still get a visual. And I am working on hopefully getting something digital in the future. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, definitely. And for those of you who are listening and viewing, we will have some of Debora's picture samples in the show notes that you'll be able to check out and see some of these differences that she's describing. Especially for those who are listening, we're not doing a presentation share right now because we want everybody to be able to have the same possible experience. So it will be in the show notes and you'll be able to pull it up with some explanation. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. So what do you find most rewarding in your work?
Well, when you have something to me that's as profound as helping someone recognize that they are empowered, they're empowered to change their thoughts. And when you have a tiny piece of that, just a smidgen of the fact that you might have introduced that to someone and maybe that they've, chosen to adopt that idea and make those changes. Oh, to me, that's just because the ripple effect is huge. I when I go into corporate and I share these ideas or wherever I share them with people, when people have that in their mind and they say they have a bad day at work and they go home, well, maybe they stop on the way home or while they're driving home and they think, boy, my picture wouldn't be very good right now with these thoughts. I better, give myself a little checkup from the neck up to change my stinking thinking, to quote the late great Zig Ziglar, before I get home to my wife and my kids, or my husband and my children, or my mom and my dad, or whoever, that my family is important enough to me that I need to make this shift for them and for myself. So that I think is one of the most, being able to share that thoughts can be changed, and thoughts are things, and thoughts look like something.
I think that's fantastic. I want to hear how the company name Smash Through Mentor came to be, and what you smashed through. I know we've talked about it, but our audience might want to understand.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny how the name came about. I was chatting with somebody, and it's many years ago, so I apologize because I can't quite remember who it was. But we were chatting about names and things, and who I am as a person, and how I like to do things. And I'm, people sort of call me a get her done kind of gal. So the way we were talking, we were brainstorming names. And, I said, well, you kind of smash through stuff. You kind of just get it done, and boom, you know it's right. You're intuitive, and you just get it done. And so, and then we talked, and, I said, my mentor, Dr. Krog is just amazing. And then mentor came up, and all of a sudden Smash Through Mentor was born. And I've kind of embodied it, and, do my best. I'm not going to say I'm perfect, but I do my best to try and live up to that as much as possible.
Well, absolutely. And then you're smashing through beliefs, you're smashing through limits, you're smashing through understanding, and helping people smash through to their next level of excellence.
Exactly.
And exactly. So, and I love that you and I have both mentioned reframing a little bit, because anything that brought us here can be seen in a different lens. That's why you would talk to people about their photographs, so that you could reframe it, have them think about it in a different way. And smashing through our limiting beliefs is a lot of reframing, so that we can then rewrite our present understanding, our present view of ourselves, our present mental state, and redesign the future that we want. I love that you do that with individuals and teams and companies to affect the whole culture, because you are recognizing that each individual makes a difference. Because, for crying out loud, you talked about 4 individual thoughts, and each individual thought makes a difference.
And our thoughts change all day long.
It's true.
Years ago, when I was able to still do the film, I would take my own pictures and measure my own thoughts throughout a day. And, I could kind of measure it. And that was, really a fun thing to do. But I'll tell you, it sure makes you pull up your socks. And go, oh, whoa, okay, give your head a shake. Something's not quite right here.
Let's see what we can do. Let's adjust some here.
Little fine tuning.
So with all of this that you do to help people, individuals, and groups, what do you find most challenging in your work?
I think what I find most challenging with the Curlium photography is people recognizing, and this is changing quickly because of all the talk that there is around energy now, and the connection with mind, body, spirit. And it's a lot more open now. And, it is starting to be embraced in corporate culture. We are taking responsibility more and more for our own thoughts, our thoughts towards others, how we open up dialogue, how we close dialogue, everything that is going on. So I guess the most challenging part is getting into and sharing it more and more, getting into places, wanting to, talk to the powers that be that, really want to make a difference in their culture and want to show their staff and their management that there is something different that we can all do, because part of us is all the same. We all have these thoughts. We all have thoughts throughout a day, and it's okay to have frustrating thoughts in a day. And it's okay to some days wish you were somewhere else other than work. It is.
It absolutely is.
When you're there, you got to kind of do one of those little shifts and, to make it the best place. And as people recognize that more and more, it gets better and better. So I think that's part of my biggest challenge, is just, being able to share it on a larger scale with people and get people talking about it.
Oh, I love it though, because you're smashing through the boundaries. And when you smash, it's not destructive. It's breaking down walls to encourage people to step up, step out, step into themselves, and step into change. So it's breaking out of their current status quo. It's breaking out of their current limits. And then it sounds like you just mentor them through and help them move forward.
Well, that's what I try. And the best part is that it's in their control.
Yes.
It's not in the control of the boss. It's not in control of the owner. It's not in control of the union or their coworker. This is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to control this. And that, I think, is so empowering for people. And the recognition that they have a responsibility.
Yes.
Because once once you see it, it's there. You might
Mm-hmm.
choose not to think about it, or you might not want to buy into the philosophy. And that, again, is in your power, no one else's. So that I love that. I love empowering people.
So have you seen when one person gets it, have you seen that create a shift in the people around them?
Oh, for sure. A huge shift in the entire company culture.
With just one person really getting it.
Sure. And I mean, let's face it, one person is powerful. That's how change starts.
It's true.
And when you can get a team to buy into it, and let's face it, it starts from management,
Mm-hmm.
right? If management is excited about it and enthusiastic about it and makes it fun,
Yes.
then it trickles down, right? Because
Yes.
whatever's going on in an organization, it starts from the top.
Yes.
And again, people sometimes want to blame a lot of other people for things, but we all have to take a look in that mirror. Sometimes it's not what we want to face. Sometimes it's not what we want to hear, but it's necessary.
I completely agree. Oh, I love it. So what advice would you give to diversity, equity, and inclusion teams?
Oh, that's a big one these days. First thing I'm going to say would be open dialogue. Talk and listen. That's even maybe more important than talking. But I think that listening with not just open ears, but an open mind. Everybody's different. Sometimes people have ideas and thoughts and lifestyle and beliefs that don't agree with ours.
True.
I mean, let's face it, that's why we live in such diverse cultures and why there's everything that's going on nowadays that there is, because these things need to be addressed.
Exactly.
And I think when we can listen and be open about it and accepting, people want to be seen and heard and understood. When we look at it all, really, isn't that what we all really want? We want to be acknowledged. We want someone to say, okay, I've heard you. And even if someone doesn't agree, I think that's okay too. We're not all going to agree,
Exactly.
but it doesn't mean we have to condemn, and it
Right.
doesn't mean that we have to put people down. So I really think that if there's an encouragement of open-mindedness and acceptance, not necessarily always agreement,
Thank
but
you.
just healthy dialogue, that I think it would go an awful long way.
Oh, I completely agree. And again, that comes from the top. It is a matter of listening to everybody who reports to you and who reports to them, and recognizing that diversity can be found in everything, from a person's perspective, a person's worldview, a person's background, a person's upbringing, a person's education style. Everybody has a different approach. And as we listen to understand, instead of listen to convince or listen to argue or listen to accept, but listen to understand, people feel valued. Exactly. It creates an alignment, especially I think when you can understand what somebody else does well that you don't do well, or understand a new perspective and say, oh, I hadn't thought of that, but maybe some of our target customers think this way, and your perspective just brought something new to me. And because you do something well that I don't do well, you and I are going to make a great team, because you can help me, maybe I can help you. Ooh, look at all of the wonderful things we can do now by discussing our differences, our difference in perspective, our difference in experiences, and just opening up our minds. I had never heard of Kirlian photography. I've been learning a lot of fun stuff.
And you didn't think I was weird.
Because I enjoy learning as many new things as are out there. And my worldview has changed so many ways in so many things in my lifetime, while still aligning with who I am, just adding to it, that it's fun. It's positively fun.
I think one more thing, if you don't mind me adding,
Please.
Dr. Catherine, is in addition to everything else that we talked about diversity and equality and inclusion, I think it's important for all members on both sides of the coin, whether it's the new ideas and new things being introduced or the old ways, for people to be solution oriented. People who have been stuck in doing things for a long time, it's hard to change. It's hard to change the thinking. And a lot of this stuff is really new to people. And some of it to some people is very scary, because they're feeling threatened.
It's true.
And maybe they don't even understand why.
It's true.
So I think if everybody can start with the thing of being solution oriented and understanding oriented, and don't expect everything to be resolved in this one hot little minute.
Exactly.
And so the understanding has to be from all sides. And I think that's important.
Thank you. I really appreciate you adding that. Absolutely. And solution oriented is all about understanding the problems and understanding the people it affects. How can we best help the people it affects, whether it is the internal customers or the external customers?
I love that you said internal customers. I teach customer service, and that when I part of what I teach is, you know what, every person you interact with in this organization is your customer.
It's true. It's exactly right. I'm all about recognizing that if you have happy internal customers, you will have happy external customers. But internal customers, they will either sour or sweeten the pot of your external customers. So take care of the insides in order to take care of the outsides.
You are so right.
From our discussion, what is the one thing of most importance that you want people to hold on to and remember?
I want people to remember that our thoughts look like something. So they can either be looking really pretty when we're happy and content and thinking good thoughts. That doesn't always have to be perfect thoughts or even happy thoughts. It just needs to be the something better than what we thought before to improve. So that is one thing. And I also want people to remember that really life is wow. We have a lot more wow. And for me, wow and stands for wonder, openness, and wisdom in this world. And I really want people to start thinking that way. Let's look for the wonder. Let's look for the openness. Let's look for the wisdom in every situation, the good, the bad, the ugly, because it's all there for us.
Yes. Oh, I love that you came back to that. Thank you. It is amazing. We can find the wonder, the openness, and the wisdom. We can create the wonder, the openness, and the wisdom. We can expand it, take part in the wonder, the openness, and the wisdom. And as it grows from us, then it can grow to everybody we touch at work, at home, in the community, and change who we are, change our company culture, engage the people around us, and really step up and step in.
Correct. And by changing company culture, we change community culture.
It's true.
I mean, who are companies made up of? The people who work there, the people who live in the community, the people who shop in the community, the people who volunteer in the community. That's what communities are made of. So when it starts with corporate, or it ripples out into home, and then it becomes and ripples into community, it becomes normal.
Yes.
And when everybody's talking about it, and everybody's doing their best to strive toward that. It's like a beautiful blooming flower that, you know, starts from this tight little bud that you couldn't open it for love nor money. And then it's just unfold, and it's just the beauty of it just comes forth, and people get to enjoy it and share it, and just everything about it. So that's, to me, the ripple effect is just unbelievable.
Such beautiful visuals. Thank you, Debora. So what is the best way for people to reach out to you if they want to connect to you, ask more questions, engage your services?
LinkedIn is probably one of the best.
Fantastic.
And of course, my website, smashthroughmentor.com, and I'm on Facebook under Smash Through Mentor as well. So you can pretty much reach me in any of those places.
Perfect. And we will have those links in the show notes as well. So I am just grateful. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I challenge you to find a way today to consider how your thoughts might look. Consider how you can smash through the effects of your thoughts to create the environment that you want, so that you can reframe your thoughts, rewrite your current status quo, redesign your future, and engage your company culture. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to or viewing today's Engaged Company Culture episode. I hope you have enjoyed the episode. I hope you have learned something and have something that you can apply today to engage your company culture and encourage your employees to enjoy work, looking forward to Mondays instead of only looking forward to Fridays. If you liked this episode, please share it with someone else you know. Also, like and subscribe to Engaged Company Culture anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thank you and have a wonderful day.